Thank you, thank you. All right, well, just want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about how to accelerate your digital transformation and your journey to cloud. My name is Chris Zagorski. I'm head of product management for IBM's cloud management platform. And we have with us today KV, who's a distinguished engineer in our Resiliency orchestration organization. So what we're going to talk about today in the next 20 minutes is basically we're going to be talking about some of the market insights that are really driving digital transformation in the marketplace today. What are some tools that can help? We'll talk about IBM's managed cloud platform, and then we'll talk about, with all of the cyber attacks that are going on, specific emphasis around how resiliency can really help protect your data and your solution in the cloud. So with that, I'll just start off with some insights around, they're all around us in terms of digital transformations that are successful. If you think about what Netflix has done to the entertainment industry, or what Peloton has done to the fitness industry, all of these disruptions clearly coming from a cloud-enabled solution. Even Amazon, obviously, themselves has transformed the way we consume and acquire books, and obviously has transformed the way we consume and acquire IT itself. So clearly, if we think about transformation in the digital world, cloud is a key enabler of that. And clearly the market has voted. If we look at some of the industry statistics, you can see here, this is a McKinsey report that shows that the cloud is a very large business. It's over $1 trillion, and it's growing at a very healthy clip. If you look at some of the CAGR here. And you think about our enterprises in the marketplace today, 94% are already in the cloud or planning to get there very soon, whether that's public cloud, private cloud, or hybrid cloud. And when they go in this direction, they're finding new challenges. And some of those challenges are highlighted below, whether that's how are we going to move workloads from one type of cloud to the other? How are we going to make sure that we protect our data with resiliency type solutions? How are we going to manage across these cloud types? And when enterprises are faced with this sort of question, they can say, well, we're going to solve this on our own, or they can pull upon industry best practices and tools in the marketplace. And that's exactly what IBM's cloud management platform does. It's a digital tool that is a platform that helps enterprises to acquire, consume, manage, and govern their IT resources in a self-service portal. And the chart on the left is another McKinsey report that shows companies who are successful with their digital transformation are successful when they deploy digital tools by a factor of 2x. And those digital tools are essentially providing insights through complex data. They're providing self-service capabilities and basically providing visibility and control in this multi-cloud type world. So what do I mean by a digital tool that provides this management capability? IBM's cloud management platform is composed of 4 key consoles that are solutions grouped specifically for groups of personas to help provide this tool to help your digital transformation. And I'll show you a little bit more about what each one of these consoles does. And by the way, any questions that we don't get a chance to answer for you in this session, we're physically located just 2 booths over, booth 616. So basically what this platform does is help provide a digital control, a digital work plane that helps IT organizations manage their cloud, whether that's in a traditional IT operations management, ITOM world, or it's a more modernized DevOps world. Through the same tool, you can manage your cloud IT resources with our management platform. The other thing that's important to point out is that it's specifically built in an open and federated approach so that regardless of what you choose as a customer to do your orchestration or your automation, our tool can plug in and integrate with that. So now let me spend a little bit of time on each one of the consoles, and then I'll turn it over to KV to go into a deep dive on how to manage your cloud or your data in a resilient way. The first panel is our consumption console, and really what that allows an enterprise to do is to curate and publish their own private catalog of service compositions that are available for consumption for other business units within the enterprise. So you have the ability now to bring back control into the IT world of how cloud is consumed by making this catalog published within your organization. Then a business unit or a developer could choose a particular catalog composition and begin the consumption. That will then go through workflow approvals. So out of the box, we support technical as well as financial approvals that are managing to a budget, and you're able to see that in the tool itself. And you're also able to look at, once you've ordered the or requested or the service composition for consumption, you're able to look at your inventory and take some basic day 2 operations on that as well. You also have a DevOps portal which provides transparency into the DevOps CI/CD pipeline, and really what you're looking for there is to find the bottlenecks in your application so that you can get your code to production faster. The next portal is day 2 operations through our AIOps console. Now you're able to do more extensive day 2 ops. You're able to see both multi-cloud as well as traditional data center inventory and health, and tie that back to your application through tagging to be able to understand where your pinch points are and how your overall application is performing. And then lastly, you have the governance console, which helps provide some of that visibility in your digital transformation, or what are the costs that I'm looking at across my different cloud types that are based on your billing API. It's updated every day, and you're also able to see your capacity planning based on utilization. How well are the assets that I'm paying for being utilized? So that's basically the quick summary, and then what I want to do now is turn it over to KV to go on a deep dive on the resiliency part of the solution.
Thank you, Chris.
Sure.
Hi, welcome everybody. So this is about that when you talked about multi-cloud management, how do you ensure that your applications that are running on the cloud are available from day 2? Anything happens to it. We hear a lot of things about the myth that in cloud you don't need any resiliency because it's built into it. Now, let's understand. Does that mean that, does it cover your data? Think about it. Does it contain, we keep hearing containers, they take care of everything. I would ask the same question. If you were running a bank, if you deposited money, and if that whole region, not just availability zone, if the region goes down, which happens, then what happens? Do you have an answer? Would you be okay to agree that you don't see the money deposited in your account? That's exactly what resiliency is about. And whenever I talk about it, right, I do hear one thing, that that's all fine, but in this modern cloud modernized application, how do I do that? Again, people think when we talk resiliency about what was 10 years back. No, don't look that. This is the same state as what automobiles have been. When they were in the 19th century, when we were just having cars, they were compared all the time to the mechanical horses, how much it compares to the horses. But would you look up a car and think about a horse today? You are more likely to think about a spaceship than a horse. That's exactly what we want you to think. When you talk resiliency, don't think like your 19th century car being compared to a horse. Don't think, what we try to say here is, think about all the things that you want to have. It's about your needs. and don't pick the solution before you think about your needs. So when you talk about the resiliency, what are you talking your needs as? That in this cloud world, multi-cloud world, where you're not wishing away your on-premise, you have on-premise, you have the AWS, you have a private cloud, probably co-located. And with all of these things, how are you managing? It's an evolving landscape. It's not homogeneous like you would have tried it in your 10 years back state. So that's your first part. Your infrastructure itself is changing every day, and it need not look like what it looked 10 years back. And the second thing is, how many people are you going to train to talk about each of the technologies that you are writing your application on? And more importantly, when we talk about resiliency, people think about incidents of the IT data center going down. But that's not the only one. Today, there are cyber attackers out there. It's not about that I know how to handle this infrastructure. I am all done for it, right? Because you can't expect what you don't know. That's more about that thing. And I'm going to not go too many into these things, but it's mainly about, as I said, don't think that resiliency is what is yesterday. Resiliency of tomorrow is going to be not about that I have a plan I can rely back on, but because your attackers are smarter than you. Your infrastructure is improving at such a rate that you have to keep up with it. Given these things, it becomes very important that if your attacker is also knowing that you've got your backup and your DR data centers, everything is exposed on the network which you can expose to, then what is your answer to it? That's something you need to think about. And it's a very regulatory world. The more the attacks, the more the things, the more expectation on compliance and regulation. Now, does this mean that, okay, I have never suffered so far any incident outage I haven't been able to handle? I have never had a cyber attack. Why do I have to worry about it? If I have lived for so many years of my life without doing this, I can still live until the end of my life. That's so as long as you haven't had one issue, right? It's like your life insurance, that until you have life, it doesn't look like it's important. But the day you meet with an accident is when you realize that you should have, if you can have that few minutes of thought before our life goes, we should think that we should have life insurance. That's exactly what resiliency is. So IBM keeps telling our customers, which I would like you to prod because it's not a slogan. I want you to understand the lying belief, right? Which says that it's a matter of, no longer a matter of if I get attacked or if there is an outage I need to worry about. It's a matter of when am I going to feel this outage and am I prepared for it, right? So that's what this data here shows, that almost 48% of the organizations have had at least one outage to the scale that they couldn't handle. And 75% of the ransomware attack, the more the cloud landscapes and your evolving, sprawling landscape is meaning that you are going to be having at least 3/4 of the organization poll are being hit by this and don't know how to recover. And this is not just all the data. How long does it take for you to recover? That's more important. That data may not be shown here, but it takes on an average, not in hours or seconds we are talking. For an enterprise, when it gets either it loses its data center, a region is wiped out, or it gets attacked, malware, and you hear not in seconds or hours they are back operational on their business, but it takes them months together to become operational. So this is about how do you do it so that you come down from months, maybe not on the first day in seconds, but you all want to do that, right? That's what the point is about. How do we invest in the automation and orchestration to be able to come down on when we haven't least expected, when our business is disrupted? How do I come up back within, if not seconds, at least minutes? And I'm talking about it, I'm not talking a single mission that you got a EC2 instance got out of the thing. I am talking about your business application, which is no longer a single mission, but it's made up of very complex. And that's the second point about that. When you think about, you're no longer thinking about server. Because in a cloud, yeah, it's fine, I can stand up a EC2 instance, but then what happens after that? I cannot connect to it. And there was this famous thing in 2017, the New York Stock Exchange went through this thing, that they were able to bring up their secondary data center, everything happened, and all fine. I I think they had rolled out of a gateway update, which was all fine, and they could switch when they figured that they couldn't get people connected to this. They switched to their secondary data center. Unfortunate part was that still that gateway is a new gateway version which was not deployed on the secondary data center. So in spite of it, they were delayed by 8 hours of all the trades before they could go on, right? Can you afford to be, if you are a New York Stock Exchange, to be out of business for 8 hours on your trading futures? You can't do that, right? That's exactly why you need to think about not just as infrastructure, not just as storage. You will hear many point technologies, but what do you want to think about is your business application. All the things, are they going to be able to recover within minutes or hours if I need to be able to run? And the point about is, Chris already made it, that it's a digitized world. And this is all about single console. I want to be able to see what is up and running, not only up and running, how much money am I spending? How can I leverage some investment from this into other when you have multiple services running? So it is about having intelligent workflows. It's about ability of your IP-led systems to be able to have advantage of these things from the time you consume the service to the time, like Chris mentioned, not only when you have a question, just look up and say, I want to recover. You should be able to do that. Same way as you can see our booth from here, should be the same way you should be able to see in our console and be able to recover faster, right? And this is not about, as I keep repeating, it's easy to say and do when you do it in a single environment, when you do it in a private cloud or your on-premise or all homogeneous AWS environment either. Right? But this is not the reality because you have a distributed environment. That's what cloud has brought to us, that you do not lock into any single specific technology or vendor or anything. So when you have such a sprawled environment and when you have your complex business application to think about, how can you recover reliably, not just within few minutes or hours, every time, how can I repeat and do it within those same few minutes, right? That's the most important part of what we hear from people. It's nice, but after a few minutes, how can I do? And the most important is reduce the complexity and give me a simplified way, single click. In the digital economy, nobody wants to be worried about doing multiple different steps to it, right? And here is the AWS solution where like it doesn't have to. I was listening to the previous clients talk about partners, Nutanix talking about, and somebody had a question, can I recover even if it is on-prem to some cloud like AWS? So this is exactly what it says. Your environment is likely to be, very likely to be heterogeneous, very different technologies. So if you have a storage here that is a SAN storage, you might end up having in your alternate site a S3, Amazon S3 storage. How do you still manage it without having to worry about it, right? And this is something that we launched pretty newly. Want to learn more about it, please come to our booth. This is about the cyber incident recovery solution. And this is one of the reference architecture we have used in our financial services client. I can't name it here. But what is more important is purely AWS environment. And the client can put their data into AWS and be able to recover the minute the attack is done, to be able to recover a copy, all instantiated within Amazon, check that it's a copy I need, check the integrity of the data, and then be able to push back and get it into your production data center, all orchestrated within an hour. That is the main point of this, and it's purely AWS technologies. So I would want to get from here into completing my thing about this is the benefits you get. I'm not going to repeat. As I said, that this is about heterogeneous, hybrid, multi-cloud world. How do you do it? Rapid recovery. And how do you meet your needs all within the digital world of being able to do it in a single click and with IBM Services supporting you on the back end, not the original traditional services. With that, I'm going to hand over back to Chris to wrap it up.
Thank you, KV. So we're almost out of time. I just want to basically summarize by saying, don't miss out on the opportunity to have a successful digital transformation, increasing it by a factor of 2x by deploying digital tools, whether that's the cloud management platform from IBM or the resiliency orchestration solution you heard from KV, both of which can accelerate your digital transformation and protect your solution regardless of what type of cloud it's deployed in. So with that, I'll say thank you very much. And if you do have any questions, please see us either right after or come see our booth 616 right across the way here. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.